The shadow arrives. The sun dipped low over Wakanda, painting the sky in streaks of crimson and gold. From the balcony of the royal palace, T'Challa, king of Wakanda, looked out at the golden city. Towers gleamed with vibranium-laced architecture, alive with energy and progress. The hum of airships blended with the laughter of children below, and for a brief moment, the world seemed at peace. But peace in Wakanda rarely lasted forever. Another report, my king, Okoye, leader of the Dora Milaje, announced as she approached. Her usually steady voice carried an edge. 2 more miners collapsed inside Mount Bashenga. No wounds. No toxins detected. Their energy simply gone. T'Challa turned, his brow furrowed. Gone? As though something drained it from them? Okoye nodded grimly. The healers can do little but keep them stable. Their spirits feel empty. Like the light has been stolen from them. The words carried a weight that vibranium could not measure. T'Challa had faced many threats, mercenaries, warlords, even gods, but this was different. A predator that left no scars, only hollow shells of men. Where did it happen? He asked. The lower mines. The deepest chambers. T'Challa's gaze hardened. The lower mines were sacred ground, the heart of Wakanda's vibranium wealth. If something lurked there, it was not by chance. That night, the Black Panther descended into the depths of Mount Bashenga. Shuri had insisted on upgrading his suit for the expedition, sensors tuned to detect even the faintest energy fluctuations, claws infused with light-reactive vibranium. Still, T'Challa knew technology alone would not be enough. The tunnels grew colder as he went deeper. Vibranium veins glowed faintly in the stone walls, their blue light reflecting in pools of underground water. But something was wrong. The shadows moved where they shouldn't. From the darkness ahead came a whisper, not sound, but something that brushed against his mind. A hunger. A presence. Who is there? T'Challa demanded, his voice echoing off the stone. The shadows rippled, and from them stepped nothing. At least, nothing his eyes could fully grasp. A shape darker than the surrounding dark, its edges shifting like smoke. 2 points of light blinked open, eyes, glowing with a cold, predatory hunger. I am Nythera, the thing hissed, its voice layered, as though a chorus of whispers spoke at once. This world shines too brightly. Its heart beats too strongly. I will consume it. T'Challa crouched, ready to strike. Wakanda is no feast for shadows. You will find no prey here. Nythera's form elongated, stretching unnaturally along the cavern walls. I already have. Your people feed me with every breath, every spark of life. Your vibranium will be my vessel. With it, I will become eternal. The alien lunged, dissolving into a stream of darkness that rushed toward him. Instinct kicked in. T'Challa's suit flared, the vibranium absorbing impact as his claws slashed through the oncoming void. For a heartbeat, the alien shrieked, a sound like wind through a graveyard, before vanishing into the walls. The cavern went silent. Coward, T'Challa muttered, scanning with his helmet. Yet no matter how advanced his tech, the sensors showed nothing. Nythera had no mass, no energy signature, only absence. Then came a scream. From deeper within the mines. T'Challa sprinted through the tunnels, his heart pounding. He emerged into a chamber where 2 Dora Milaje stood, only to collapse in front of him, their bodies limp, eyes open but lifeless. The torches flickered, their flames straining against some unseen force. And in the corner, the shadows shifted again. Watching. Feeding. T'Challa activated a vibranium flare. A brilliant sphere of light filled the chamber. For the briefest instant, Nythera's true form appeared, a tall, skeletal being, its body composed of twisting shadow tendons, its eyes burning like dying stars. Then, with a screech, it dissolved again into darkness. When T'Challa returned to the surface, dawn had broken, but the weight in his chest remained. Shuri was waiting, eyes wide with concern. You've seen it, she said, reading his expression. Yes, he replied. It is no spirit, no myth. An intruder. Alien. Shuri's mind raced. If it feeds on life energy, we cannot fight it with blades or spears. Even vibranium may not. It can be fought, Chala interrupted. His voice was calm, steady, the voice of a king. Every predator has a weakness. Even shadows flee the sun. Okoye approached, fists clenched in frustration. But it hides. Strikes where we cannot see. How do we hunt a ghost? Chala looked at both of them, his resolve unshaken. Not with technology alone. Our ancestors hunted beasts in the night long before vibranium shaped our world. They used fire, sound, unity. We must remember their ways. For Wakanda's greatest strength has never been its metal, it is its people. His word steadied them. The Dora Milaje bowed their heads. Shuri's eyes glimmered with determination. But far below, in the endless black of the mines, Nythera stirred. It whispered to itself in voices only the shadows could hear. The sun may burn, but the night always returns. The hunt in the dark. The night in Wakanda was rarely silent. Normally, the hum of airships and the rhythm of drums filled the land with life. But tonight, an uneasy quiet spread across the Golden City. Citizens whispered of a creature that walked in the dark, draining men of their very souls. Mothers lit fires outside their homes. Children slept with lights glowing beside their beds. Even in a land blessed with vibranium and guarded by its king, fear had begun to take root. Deep within the palace, Chala stood with Okoye, Shuri, and the Dora Milaje. A holographic map of Wakanda glowed before them, its network of vibranium veins highlighted like arteries. Dozens of red markers dotted the screen, each representing a place where Nythera had struck. The pattern is clear, Shuri said, her voice steady but her eyes sharp with concern. Nythera is drawn to the vibranium mines. It feeds on the energy of both the living and the metal. It is not random, it is deliberate. Okoye's jaw tightened. We have warriors stationed in every mine, and yet it still strikes, unseen. How can we fight what we cannot touch? We adapt, Chala replied. Every predator has habits. It stalks the shadows, but shadows vanish in light. Shuri tapped the map, bringing up a projection of her newest invention. Vibranium light projectors. They emit pulses of energy tuned to disrupt intangible matter. But, she hesitated. Their range is limited, and Nythera is clever. If it realizes the danger, it will retreat. Then we do not hunt it with machines alone, Chala said, lowering his voice. We will use what Wakanda has always relied upon, our people. Warriors, hunters, traditions. The old ways. Okoye raised an eyebrow. Old ways? Before vibranium, Chala said, his gaze far away, our ancestors fought predators of the night. They hunted not with sight, but with sound, fire, rhythm. Nythera hides in silence, so we will make the dark loud. That evening, the Black Panther led a strike team into the lower mines. The Dora Milaje carried spears tipped with vibranium, but they also carried torches, drums, and stones for striking sparks. The deeper they went, the more oppressive the darkness became. Shadows writhed on the walls, stretching unnaturally against the glow of their lights. The air grew cold, their breath visible in the flicker of flames. Do you feel it? Okoye muttered, her grip tight on her spear. The air, it watches. It is not the air, Chala said. It is the hunter. They reached a vast cavern, the ceiling lost in blackness. The vibranium veins pulsed faintly along the walls, casting eerie blue light. The Dora Milaje formed a circle, lighting torches and placing them at intervals. Shuri's projectors were set in the center, ready to ignite. Then the drums began. Slow, steady beats that echoed through the cavern. Boom. 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 The rhythm carried through the rock, a living pulse that unsettled the silence. At first, nothing stirred. Then the shadows thickened, rippling like black water. A whisper brushed against their ears. You cannot cage the night. Nythera emerged, not as one being, but as many, its body splitting into streams of shadow that slid along the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Glowing eyes blinked from every corner, watching, hunting. The Dora Milaje stood firm, their spears glowing as the torches flared. Chala raised a hand, his claws gleaming. Now! Shuri's projectors ignited, flooding the cavern with radiant vibranium light. The shadows recoiled with a shriek, pulling back from the glow. For a moment, Nythera's true form emerged, tall and skeletal, its limbs like twisted smoke, its chest hollow, as though it were a living void. The Dora Milaje lunged, spears striking with precision. Their attacks pierced Nythera's form, forcing it to stumble. But the alien dissolved again, slipping through the rock, its laughter echoing in the dark. The torches sputtered, one by one. The drums faltered. Darkness surged. A warrior screamed as Nythera's tendrils wrapped around him, draining his energy. He collapsed, his body limp. "Keep the rhythm!" Chala shouted. His voice cut through the fear like steel. "Do not let the silence take you." The drums roared again. Warriors struck stone against stone, sparks flying in the dark. Fire flared, chasing away the shadows. Chala moved like lightning, his claws slashing at tendrils as they lunged. His suit absorbed each impact, storing energy, then releasing it in explosive bursts of force. He fought not just with strength but with timing, striking in rhythm with the drums, making the darkness stumble against the beat. Okoye fought beside him, fearless, her spear piercing through the alien's intangible limbs. "It bleeds light," she shouted. "Strike harder." For every blow they landed, Nythera screamed, its form unraveling, then reforming. It slipped through walls, struck from behind, retreated into the ceiling. No matter how fast they struck, it was faster. But then Shuri's voice rang out over the comms. "Brother! It resists the projectors because they are steady. You must disrupt its rhythm. Light and chaos, not order." Chala understood at once. He leapt to the projector, adjusting its output. The pulses of light shifted, flickering, irregular, unpredictable. The cavern exploded with erratic bursts of brilliance. Nythera howled, its form destabilizing. Shadows writhed like torn fabric, fragments scattering across the chamber. For the first time, the alien was forced fully into view. The Dora Milaje did not waste the chance. Together, they struck in perfect unison, spears piercing the alien's chest. Vibranium energy flared, pinning Nythera to the stone floor. For a heartbeat, silence. Then, with a violent surge, Nythera dissolved into a storm of shadows, blasting the warriors back. It fled into the deepest tunnels, leaving behind only whispers that chilled their bones. You cannot fight the dark forever. Night always returns. Breathing heavily, Chala stood amid the ruin. Several warriors lay unconscious, their energy drained but alive. Okoye knelt, checking their pulses. Relief flickered across her face. Shuri's voice was grave through the comms. "You forced it to retreat. That alone is victory. But it will learn, brother. It will adapt." Chala looked at the darkness beyond the tunnel. His claws clenched. "Then so will we." He turned to his people, their torches still burning, their drums still echoing in the cavern. The sight filled him with pride. Wakanda was afraid, yes, but they had stood, unbroken, against the night. "The hunt has only begun," he said, his voice carrying through the cavern. "And Wakanda does not lose the hunt." The warriors lifted their spears, shouting in unison. The drums thundered louder, chasing away the silence. But deep in the dark, Nythera listened. And it smiled. Unmasking the shadow. The golden city gleamed under the morning sun, its spires and airships radiant against a sky of clear blue. But beneath that brightness, the people of Wakanda whispered. Too many warriors had returned from the mines drained and weakened. Families feared the dark. Merchants kept lamps burning even in daylight. The name had begun to spread in hushed tones, Nythera. In the palace, Chala stood before the council, his mask removed but his expression solemn. The holographic chamber displayed every attack site, the web of red markers tightening around the heart of Wakanda's Vibranium reserves. "This is no ordinary invader," Chala said. "It does not fight with weapons, but with hunger. It feeds on life itself. Vibranium is its prize, but we are the path." The council stirred uneasily. One elder leaned forward. "If this alien is intangible, how do we strike it? Spears pass through. Even light only forces it to scatter." "That is why we must learn what it is," Shuri answered, stepping forward. Her eyes were fierce, though her voice carried the weight of sleepless nights. "I have been studying the energy it leaves behind. Each drained warrior carries a residue, a signature unlike anything on Earth." She touched the console, and a swirling projection appeared, strands of shadow entwined with faint sparks of light. "This," Shuri said, "is Nythera's essence. It is not merely shadow. It is a parasitic organism, an alien species that evolved in a starless system. They consumed the life force of others to survive, feeding on energy as easily as we breathe air. But their hunger destroyed their home. They wander now, seeking new sources to sustain themselves." The room fell silent. The idea that Wakanda's greatest treasure had become a target for such a being was a blow. Okoye broke the silence, her voice like a blade. "So it comes here to gorge itself, like a jackal at a feast." "Yes," Shuri said. "And Vibranium is not just a lure. To Nythera, it is a vessel. If it learns to fuse with Vibranium, it will become indestructible." Chala's jaw tightened. He looked around the chamber, seeing the fear etched in his people's faces. "Then we must not allow it to merge with what is ours. Wakanda has faced invaders before. Some came with armies, others with greed. This one comes with shadows. But all share the same weakness: they believe Wakanda can be conquered." That evening, the Golden City prepared for war. Streets were lit with vibranium lanterns, casting brilliant light into every corner. Scientists worked beside warriors, building portable projectors, light drones, and sonic amplifiers. The drums of the people thundered through the night, steady and defiant. From the palace balcony, Chala watched them. It stirred something in him, pride not in their technology, but in their spirit. Fear was in their hearts, yes, but so was courage. Shuri joined him, carrying a small device. "Brother, the projectors are ready. But we cannot wait for Nythera to strike again. We must draw it out, force it to reveal itself where we can corner it." Chala looked at her. "And where would we bait a creature born of shadow?" Her lips curved into a grim smile. "In the brightest place we can build." The trap was set in the heart of the Golden City. Vibranium spires rose into the air, linked with projectors that pulsed erratically, chaotic bursts of light designed to confuse and destabilize the alien. At the center, Chala stood in his Black Panther suit, surrounded by Dora Milaje and shielded civilians. The city fell quiet, waiting. And then the lights flickered. A cold wind swept through the plaza. Shadows stretched unnaturally long across the stones. From the corners of alleys, from beneath the very feet of the people, Nythera emerged. Its form writhed and stretched, dozens of eyes opening across its body like lanterns of dying fire. The crowd gasped. For the first time, Wakanda saw the enemy clearly. "Your light burns," Nythera hissed, its voice echoing through the plaza, layered and hollow. "But light is fleeting. Darkness endures." Chala stepped forward, claws gleaming. "You speak of endurance. Yet your kind destroyed itself with hunger. You do not endure, you consume. And Wakanda will not be consumed." With a scream like tearing metal, Nythera struck. Tendrils of shadow lashed out, slamming against the protective dome Shuri had raised. Warriors held their ground, torches and spears igniting in defiance. The projectors flared, flooding the plaza with irregular bursts of brilliance. Nythera recoiled, its form twitching, flickering between solidity and vapor. "Now!" Chala roared. The Dora Milaje charged, their spears piercing into Nythera's unstable form. Sparks of light burst from every strike. For the first time, the alien bled, not with blood, but with fragments of shadow that hissed and evaporated. Shuri directed the drones, beams locking onto the alien's chest. The plaza shook with energy as Nythera screamed. "You cannot kill what is not alive." Chala leapt, his claws glowing with kinetic energy. He struck at the alien's chest, and for an instant, his claws tore into something solid. Nythera staggered, its skeletal shape revealed to all. The crowd gasped, but then Nythera dissolved, its body scattering into dozens of shadow streams that slipped into the cracks of the city. The light projectors whined and dimmed. One by one, the streams of shadow slithered away, disappearing into the horizon. Silence fell. Chala stood in the center of the plaza, his claws still glowing, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. Around him, warriors steadied themselves. The people looked to their king with wide eyes, afraid, but emboldened by what they had witnessed. They had seen Nythera bleed. Later, in the palace war room, Shuri studied the data from the battle. Her eyes burned with fatigue, but her voice carried a spark of triumph. "We did it. We forced it into solidity." For a moment, it was vulnerable. Okoye crossed her arms. But not for long enough. It still escaped. "Yes," Shuri said, "but we now know its weakness. Nythera is not invincible. It cannot endure light that is chaotic, unpredictable. It cannot adapt quickly enough. If we can amplify that effect." Chala finished her thought. "We can force it to remain solid long enough to end it." Okoye smirked, fierce and resolute. "Then we end it. Once and for all." Chala placed a hand on the holographic map. "Its hunger brought it here. Its arrogance will keep it here. And when it returns, we will be ready." He looked at his sister and his general, brilliant minds and fearless warriors. Then at the glowing map of Wakanda, its people and its heart. "Nythera believes we are prey," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of a king. "But it will learn that Wakanda is the hunter." Far beyond the city, in the blackness of the mines, Nythera reformed. Its body shuddered, fragments barely clinging together. For the first time in centuries, it felt pain. And yet it smiled. "They think they can bind me. They think they can shine forever. But all lights die. And when theirs fades, I will feast." The shadows swallowed its form, leaving only the echo of a laugh that chilled the stone.